Hello, my wonderful viewers, and welcome to another episode of Betty Adams Overanalyzes. Today, we are going to take a fully spoilery look at Kaiju number 8, chapter 42, and this was a good one. Okay. Boy, and howdy, it was fun. This chapter was heavy, and I do mean heavy on relationship development, while still being an action chapter. We get a lot, at least for this series, of tiny little panels flashing back and forth between various faces to show reactions. Then there's more world building, and I made two rather major mistakes in my analysis of chapter 41 that chapter 42 corrected and cleared up. But before we get into the spoilers, I will give you several seconds to go check out the links below the video. To get your own copy of Humans Are Weird, I have the data, a book of human absurdity. So are you back now? Boy, and howdy, this chapter just stirred up my emotions. Now, first things first, corrections from my last couple weeks of analysis. Those are ant kaiju and not locust kaiju, as I thought after reading last chapter. The length and shapes of the abdomen added to the beefiness of their legs kind of threw me. And the other thing was that I assumed that Kafka and Kokoro were right beside each other on the same rooftop, but it looked like they were on opposite ends of the zone. Kafka has the west zone, Kokoro has the east zone, and neither mistake really changes the point of any of my analysis, but I felt that I had to mention them. So, let's just jump right into the big plot twist that nearly floored me. Kafka couldn't transform. Now, that is not to say that this was totally unexpected from my perspective. I had actually postulated that Kafka would be unable to transform the next time he needed to, but I can't remember if I mentioned it in a video. I enjoyed this chapter so much, I'm having to force myself to speak at a reasonable rate. Otherwise, I'd just be tearing along and you wouldn't understand a thing. But anyway, my theory, or my thought, it wasn't even really a fully formed theory, was that little guy, the little kaiju inside of Kafka, would have taken too much damage fighting General Director Shinamaya and then getting his core punctured. So much damage, in fact, that it would have to go dormant and let Kafka's human body heal the both of them for a time. Now we don't, and I repeat, we don't know if that is exactly what's happening here. In fact, I see three distinct possibilities for why Kafka couldn't transform. Possibility 1, the little guy is just too physically damaged and doesn't have the physical ability to pull Kafka's body into the pocket dimension where it's kept when Kaiju number 8 is out and about fully transformed. That would explain why Kafka could do a partial transformation but not a full transformation. Possibility 2, little guy is emotionally hurt and offended, or just hurt and confused after last time when Kafka punched into the core to stop him from fighting General Director Shinamaya. So when little guy sensed a Daikaiju presence, just like he had for the General Director, the little guy shut down transformation on the grounds that he wasn't going to fight a Daikaiju if Kafka was just going to punch their core again at the end of it. This is also possibly supported by Kafka himself being reluctant to transform despite knowing that it is in his best interest, because he's so uneasy about what happened last time. Now this one kind of presumes on my theory that the little guy has the mentality of a child and has imprinted on Kafka's behavior and is learning and reacting like a child would in these situations. Or possibility number 3, the one that actually seems the most likely on the surface, that Daikaiju presence, the little guy might have reacted to, specifically at least one of number 9's bodies showing up to take out Kaiju number 8, means that Kaiju number 9 just shut down the transformation via one of his reality-altering fields like he uses to hide himself. So those are the 3 main options. I suspect that there might be a 4th, but it is more of a variant on the first, but instead of little guy not being strong enough, it's Kafka's human body that doesn't have enough stored fat anymore to fuel the transformation. You'll notice that between the time he started using his Kaiju number 8 body frequently in combat, and now he lost all of that belly pooch and he's gotten downright scrawny. And each time we see him, he looks a little skinnier. And yes, he's been working out in his cell, but I really think that the transformation actually eats away at his fat, and if he doesn't have enough fat, the next source of fat is your brain, and you don't go after the brain or you can't use the body. So it might be that Kafka just doesn't have the energy in his cells anymore to power the transformation. But yeah, that's sort of like just a variant of the first one, so I didn't give it its own possibility number. Anyway, that was the plot twist that got me so excited. This entire chapter, however, seemed to be building up to analyzing how Kaiju number 8 performed and how those around him reacted to that. Captain Narumi was watching him, demanding results. The entire high command was watching Kafka from the screens at the temporary headquarters. We were all watching Kafka. And at first, he deliberately didn't transform, and I think we all kind of expected that. Kafka wanted, just like when he was in the hurt room with Shinomiya Sr., to prove that he is a human, that he can be useful as a human. Sadly, that wasn't going to fly, as we all saw. Now, interestingly enough, we get a sense of the shift in perspective of the command staff from these scenes. The bald dude, the deputy director, who is probably Shinomiya Sr.'s best friend, calls Kafka he, suggesting that he at least is seeing Kafka as a human now. I am thinking this might be mirroring the professional relationship between Mina and Vice Captain Hoshina, with Mina being the one who desperately wanted Kafka on the defense force, but not being able to say or do anything about it due to the need to be professional, fair, and avoid favoritism. And Hoshina being the one to actually stick his neck out for Kafka almost in her place. Not to say that Hoshina didn't have his own reasons for supporting Kafka, but that dynamic was there. I also suspect that Deputy Director Itami might be playing this role for Director Shinomiya. Where Big Daddy Shinomiya wants to protect Kafka, he can't risk people calling him out for favoritism to his daughter's friend, or just for general sentiment. Meanwhile, Deputy Director Itami doesn't have those constraints, and like Hoshina, can step in and help his commander out by doing the thing that his commander can't do. Itami is the one who asks out loud, why won't he transform? And that really is the question, isn't it? Simply from the clues in the chapter, the obvious answer is that Kaiju number 9 is blocking Kafka's transformation. Kafka being able to partially transform and then not being able to fully transform does kind of support that, assuming that Kaiju number 9 activated the interference field after it felt the energy field from Kafka trying to transform. A field that was strong enough for even the humans to detect it. And when the humans detected it, one of the scientists called our boy it. This really illustrates the split in the defense force we have now. Some of them still see him as just a kaiju, some of them seeing him as a human. We also get some character development for the first division. Captain Narumi is a lot more the tactician than I assumed, with the ability to notice details on the fly that a simple brawler would have missed. Up till this point, I realized I had been assuming that Vice Captain Hasegawa was the brains of the operation, and that Hasegawa just set up the battlefield and pointed Captain Narumi at the biggest target and let him go. But no, it looks like Captain Narumi is a captain in brain as well as body, with Hasegawa filling the role of an extremely competent details guy. Kokoru gets a bit of a positively hype training scene, though, where she tears through the ant kaiju like they're cotton candy, amazing the watching First Division and just disgusting herself, because she is both slower than Vice Captain Hoshina and lacking the force of Captain Ishiro. She's rather a classic trope in this, in that she's the hyper-skilled rookie who is blessed enough to have fallen in with people far more skilled than her, so that she naturally stays humble despite her massive skills. And finally, we have the good director Shinomiya, where the rest of the command staff are all wearing their fancy coats. Big Daddy Shinomiya is stripped down to his battle suits and ready to brawl. You really get the impression that the only thing holding back in that command center is a tenuous bond of duty, and the moment sufficient provocation shows its kaiju-esque head, he is going to be out there on the battlefield with his men. You can almost feel him itching to power up and get out there. And so that was chapter 42 of Kaiju number 8. I've left a lot out of this. I'm going to be getting a lot more videos out of this. And if you're interested in more reading, you can go check out the links below my video for Humans Are Weird, I Have the Data, a book of science fiction absurdity. Hit the like and subscribe button, and peace out, my wonderful viewers.
The book from author Betty Adams, Humans Are Weird, I Have the Data, is a humorous look at human behavior through the eyes of aliens. This book is arranged in separate reports or essays, documenting the experiences with humanity through the lens of the aliens who have to interact with them. This anthology of short stories and vignettes from alien points of view highlights some of humanity's quirks we can all relate to. Author Betty Adams captures how strange and interesting humans can really be. This is a fun collection of stories you will really get a kick out of. Humans Are Weird, I Have the Data, from author Betty Adams. Order your copy right now on Amazon.